Hi, welcome to our studio chat. This studio chat is all about raising your prices. Pricing is always a hot topic. Fleur and I are very passionate about being transparent about pricing so that we can raise the industry as a whole. As when we all raise our prices, it is better for everyone. When we all talk about pricing, it is better for everyone. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive in.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that we need to evaluate in our businesses to help us grow. We can pour more time into our businesses as well. So it's also the kind of client you will attract as well. And everyone understands inflation. If you work for a company, there's inflation, and you'll probably get, I don't know. I know my husband pays his staff an extra bonus each year, and I'm like, what? Sometimes that doesn't happen in companies if times are bad, but if they can, they will increase the prices to you and you will get a raise. And so why do we not do that in our own creative businesses? We need to address this and give ourselves a raise each year. Right?
Yeah, I think oftentimes there's a lot of emotion and ego behind asking for more money or fear that you're going to lose a client. I think that there's a really easy way to reach out to clients at the end of the year is a pretty natural time to do it, or the beginning of the following year of just saying, hey, I've really loved partnering with you this past year. Let me know how we could partner together better. If you've got anything that you're looking for this upcoming year, let me know. Just so you know, my pricing does increase by 10% or whatever that percentage might be due to da 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 da. The important thing about, I think it's always trying to increase, even if it's slightly, even if it is just 10% more each year, that you need to remember that you're bringing a whole nother year of knowledge, of experience to your skill set and to you as an artist. So a company that you worked with in the beginning, maybe you licensed a pattern with them for let's say $200, and now you are 5 years down the road and you're working with other companies and you're licensing for, let's say, $1,000, but you still have this one client at $200. It's hard to continue to pour the time into your $200 client when you know that you could be making X amount with these other new clients. And so I think it's just a good practice to continue to raise your pricing together. And so you don't end up with clients who take just as much work, but you get so much less from, and these other clients as well.
Yeah, I had a client that hadn't actually licensed with me, but I had done all my pricing, and it was when I kind of first started out in art licensing, but then that kind of never went ahead. So I'd priced really at the lower end of my table. And then they came back going, oh, I really love this design from you. I'd love to license it with you. And I was just upfront. I was like, I looked back and I was like, oh my God, why did that was so low. And so I just said politely, like, hey, my prices have increased slightly. And I didn't up them to where they were at, but I just upped them. I think it was like 15%. So it just made me feel a little bit better about that license. And they were fine with it. They were totally fine with it. I was like, just so you know, it's now blah, blah, blah for the year, for the non-exclusive. I can't remember what it was, but it just bumped it up a little bit to make me feel a little bit better. And then next time when they come to license with me, I'll try and bump it up a little bit more to try and get back up to where I am at now. So sometimes that happens, is that you do a lot of quotings and pricings, and sometimes people sit on those quotes for like a year sometimes, and nowhere in the industry, in other industries, like if someone comes to quote to clean my house, like the exterior of my house, and they quote $800, that quote is normally on the table for like 2 weeks. It normally says this quote is valid for 2 weeks. And so then if I don't get them to clean my house and come back 6 months later expecting that same price, I just can't. Their prices are probably another $100 up the ladder, you know? So why don't we do that in our own business? We need to say that this quote is valid for XYZ, like a couple of months or something, and then it might change, you know. There might be that threshold is that I'm raising my prices now 10%, I'm going up 10% or 20%, wherever you started. But yeah, like I just feel like we need to raise the industry together. We need to stand strong together and be constantly raising the bar. There's a really good example when Ryan and I visited Surtex. We really wanted to get a feel of like what people were charging because we weren't showing there, we were visitors. We got to talk to a lot of artists. We went round and introduced ourselves and we made lots of friends and we chatted about price and we just had that conversation with them, and everyone was really open to sharing with us what they were charging for a buyout and versus an exclusive and that kind of thing. There was one guy there that was maybe he was one of the first that we talked to, and he was about $650 for a buyout. Was it a buyout?
It was a buyout. Yeah.
Buyout. $650 for a buyout US. And so we thought, oh, that's quite low because I do non-exclusive.
We're getting that for life. Yeah, for licensing.
I do that for licensing for a non-exclusive sometimes. And so as we walked around, other people were higher than him. Some were like $850, some were $750, some were $1,600 for a buyout, some were $1,000. And so we went actually back to him. We said, hey, when was the last time that you raised your prices? Because everyone else is a lot higher than you. You seem to be like the lowest here. And he's like, oh my God, I've never raised my prices. I've been doing this for like 5 years or something, you know, like, I don't know how many years. It was something crazy. I was like, oh my God, you need to raise your prices. And he's like, okay, I'll raise them tomorrow for the show tomorrow. And I was like, no, you should raise them now. Like, you're still at the show. Like everyone else is. And like, he just kind of thought, maybe I'll sell more, maybe I'll move more art. But if the standard is here and everyone else is getting this, then people are willing to pay this. So why say this or even more? And if people love your work, they're going to pay for it. And we provide a service. We help people sell their product.
Yes. I also think that most of the time people will come back and say that's out of my budget. So even if you ask, it's not that some people will ghost you, but I think they would ghost you no matter what price you were giving them. But if you put out a price, I always say it should make you just like slightly like, when you send it out, of like, is that too high? Is that not like that? Like, that is how I think you should price, because it gives people like, oh, that's too high, but I could come in here. And then you can start working down from it. And while you might not get that, they know that that's where you want to get to, and you'll get closer there than you would have if you didn't ask for it.
You will get there faster if you just ask for it and then negotiate down. Like, I've done that so many times, and then I've been ghosted, and I've been like, I'm just going to send an email saying, hey, just checking that you're happy with the price. If I haven't heard back from them for like 3 weeks or something, just checking that you're happy with the price and that it all worked for you in your budget. Let me know. If not, maybe we can make it workable. And then they come back going, yeah, it's just a slightly out of our budget, but we hope to be able to work with you in the future. And then I'm like, okay, well, tell me what your budget is. Most of the time I get what their budget is before I quote, and I always go above budget, but their budget. Because I'm always trying to push them out. I'm always trying to push the ceiling for our industry. I'm trying to get that better client for myself. I'm trying to set up so I don't have to work as much, so I can do less licensing but get paid more. Like if I did 10 licensing at half the price, then I could actually just do 5 licensing for double the price. So it really coming from that mindset, setting ourselves up for success, especially working mums. We can't, I'd rather do less than more and do quality licensing and get paid what I think I'm worth. And also we have to remember that our artwork helps sell their products, and that if they didn't have the artwork or the sell it to put on their products, then no one would have that emotional connection with their products. You know, like our artwork brings out emotions in people, which helps sell products.
I also want to remind you that the worst thing that can happen is somebody says no, and that will not kill you.
Yeah. Also there is like, even in education and that kind of thing, of like looking at, you might have a course or something like that, re-looking at the price and what you can bring to the table. Is if you just raise your price slightly the next year, once you've been in it for a year, you just raise your price slightly, that can allow you to pour more energy into that course or that membership. And so there's value in, you know, raising your prices there too, not just in art licensing and that kind of thing. We're talking about all areas of our services and everything that we offer. We had a VA that we loved. She raised her prices because she wanted to change her model of how many days she works. She only wanted to work 3 days a week instead of 5. And so she wanted a lifestyle change. And we decided to not kind of continue with her because it was out of our budget, but it will be great for her, great growth for her if she could have less clients and less busy work and work only 3 days. And we understand that. And so
Yeah.
she
And
lost
really
clients.
focus on those clients, right? She'll
Yeah.
probably be better for those fewer clients that she has than she was for the many clients she had before. And I think that is a willingness to let go of some things
Yeah.
and like to get to where you want to go next. And it's
Yeah,
not
like
always easy to do.
sometimes you have to lose some clients to actually move to that next level. And sometimes you might think, oh, you might have stuff on Etsy and only be getting like little bits of money. Sometimes you have to let go of that to move to the next level, to get the higher paying client and kind of put yourself out there and go, this is where I want to get to. This is the kind of client I want to be working for. And also it just helps raise us all. If we're all pricing really low down here and being scared to price up here, then the industry is never going to raise, and we're always just going to be looked at as the struggling artist and all of that. We can thrive, but we can thrive together. We all need to raise the industry together. Ryan and I are really passionate about this. We've even had hard conversations with fabric companies about raising their prices, and we've made big change in the past. So
yeah, we just don't want to undercut each other. We want to raise together. And I think it's important as you every year is when you continue to work towards this and building your business, you are learning so much. You are growing your skill set. You're becoming more efficient. You're becoming a better businesswoman, man, whatever. And you're growing, and that you are compensated for in normal jobs. You get raises, you get bonuses, just like Fleur was saying. If you get to continued education, if you're taking a new course and now you can implement Illustrator into your business, where before you were just doing Photoshop, you can raise your prices. If you've been doing freelance work and you are a full year into it and you've had a dozen more clients, you have more experience. You're going to work faster for people. You're going to know how to execute it. You're not going over those stumbling blocks that a new designer is going over. You are ahead of the game. So charge accordingly.
Yeah. Inflation as well. Just like we have to move the times.
Yeah.
Food's getting more expensive. Like I just don't even know what's happening over here.
Well, Fleur, I remember I forever didn't charge processing fees for payments, and Fleur does on her invoices. She has, right?
Yeah,
you have processing fees and conversion rates. I know.
I didn't at first, and then I was like, every time someone paid me or I had a big licensing fee come in, I would get charged like $150 or something from PayPal, and I was like, oh my god, I thought I was going to get this much, and now I only got this much. And so now I just added in, and I figured out what it was, what the percentage was. And I think it was like on my PayPal, I think it's like 4.9, nearly 5% I add to my bill as a processing transfer fee. And so I don't have to cut, it doesn't have to come out of my cut. And we need to do that. That's a fee. There's a fee there.
Yeah, but have you had any clients come back and tell you they don't want to pay that processing fee?
Never, ever. So
it's just little things like that we need to have the courage to do.
Yes. Well, yeah. And it also can just, when you raise your price, it can help you lean into the things that you want to pour energy into those big rocks, and move your business and put your energy into the big rocks instead of doing all this busy work. And so it goes with education, all of it, yeah. You can move forward. And so we hope that helped you and gave you a pep talk to have the courage and the mindset to like raise your prices this year and relook at your prices this coming year.
Yeah. As always, if you enjoyed this conversation, it would mean the world to us if you took a screenshot and shared. It lets us know that you are getting something from these, and we'll keep on doing it. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.